Hello everybody, welcome to Hot Topics. My name is Matt.
I'm Cameron.
And this is where we talk about movies and beer.
And beer!
Today's movie that we're talking about is It Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
And the beers this time.
We're doing a double feature on the beers this week because, well, we try and find beers that fit the theme of our movies. We haven't been very good at that lately. But this week we found two beers that both reference clowns in space. And seeing as how our movie is about an intergalactic space clown, murder clown. Yeah, we thought we'd do something different. And, heck, why not? Two beers better than one.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. The first beer we got is, what is it called?
This is called the Galactica. It's a double IPA from Clown Shoes. And your beer?
Mine is called Space Cake. It's another double IPA from Clown Shoes.
Yeah. So, similar beers, at least similar styles, both from the same brewery, but I can just tell you from right off the bat,
the aroma,
these are going to be two very different beers.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to trying both of them. I haven't even taken a sip of this yet.
Nope.
So, yeah. Anyways, let's get into the movie. So, It, Chapter 2. What were you expecting going into this movie?
Well, since I saw the original one, a long time ago, I kind of expected, it to be not as good as the first one. Also, usually, horror movie sequels are never as good as the first one. On very, very rare occasions are they anywhere near as good as the first one. But, yeah, I just didn't think that it was going to be that good going into this, so I had pretty low expectations on this. What about you, man?
I had kind of middle-of-the-road expectations, because I hadn't seen the first one until literally the night before we went to go see Chapter 2.
That's a good reason.
I really don't like clowns. I saw the original when I was, really young.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Tim Curry's one creepy...
Oh, yeah.
Creepy dude.
Great actor in that movie.
Great actor.
Great.
But, terrifies 3 and 4-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, that generation of kids, hundreds of them, millions of them have fears of clowns now. That is probably why.
There's a reason why when the first movie came out there was a clown epidemic, and people were legitimately kind of freaking out.
Yep.
Because, screw clowns, man. They're just creepy. Just, all in all, just creepy. But, yeah, so my expectations were actually middle of the road. I had just seen the movie the night before. I had actually, despite my expectations and, phobias, I actually liked the first one. And the character development in the first one was so good that I was like, oh, you know what? And they got great actors for the second one.
Yep.
Jessica Chastain,
Bill
Hader, James McAvoy. I mean, the actors were all solid, so it's like, hey, maybe this could actually be really good, and it's going to be a 3-hour movie. Maybe they're going to really delve into these characters. So, yeah, middle-of-the-road expectations. And I'm not as big a horror movie fan as Matthew is, so I didn't really think of the stigma of, sequel movies in the horror genre, which, now that I think about it, yeah, you're right, very rarely.
Very rarely. Especially in horror movies, they're never as good.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones that come to mind isn't even really, it's more of that campy horror genre, and that's Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness were both awesome movies, and actually better than the first Evil Dead movie.
Yeah. Well, he was trying to go for a more serious tone for the first one.
Yeah.
And then he added some comedy elements to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
And then when he did Army of Darkness, he just embraced more and more of that comedy slapstick routine with that, which is why those were actually good sequel movies, because they were essentially different movies. Yeah. But they still told a
storyline.
Yeah.
And followed the same character throughout those 3 movies. And which is still continuing on this day with what's the show called?
Ash vs. Evil
Ash
Dead.
vs. Evil Dead. I like
Which is actually a good show too.
Pretty good show.
Yeah,
it's got the same kind of vibe. It's just more modern.
Exactly, but I mean, like dealing with strict horror movies, such as this, you don't get as good of sequels because you know what to expect. You know you're expecting more of the same thing. You have a general idea of what's going to happen, so you're already expecting it, and you're trying to figure out what's going to happen by the end of the movie. Like, I'm 5 minutes into a horror movie, I already know what's going to happen, I already know who it is, and then I already know who's going to survive till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I've just seen that many horror movies to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I would think with this one, though, another reason why that probably wouldn't come to my mind is because this is one big cohesive story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't say cohesive. Stephen King is a madman and has, like, probably 50 great ideas in this giant book.
One book, yeah. And it's a massive
a bunch
book,
of just, like, random, craziness. Probably cocaine-fueled craziness just all throughout the book.
Yeah. Book is good, though. Book is very good. I highly recommend the book.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think? Thought the movie was good?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably right alongside my expectations. It was pretty middle of the road for me.
Mm-hmm.
Had some really good, like, creepy moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very beginning of the movie, and then with the first kid, and then a couple other moments later on in the movie. We'll get into those after we review the beer and get into spoilers, but yeah, like, there were some really solid moments in the movie, but overall, it didn't, like, blow me away, and it was 3 hours of a lot of the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, but I mean, it's still not a bad movie, yeah, so.
Yeah. What do you think?
I thought it was pretty good. I read a few of the reviews, but, like, going into this movie.
Oh, yeah, reviews going into this were not that great.
Yeah, like, I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's not as bad as a lot of people were saying. It really isn't. But again, there's, like, I can definitely see where the people are coming from on the review part.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a decent sequel to a good first movie. To finish off the movie.
Yeah. And regardless of what anyone thinks of it, a movie's going to make so much money.
Oh, yeah.
So much money. I mean, yeah, that movie could have been utter horse crap and it still would have made a ton of money because
definitely.
Of where it came from and the first movie and just the whole everything, Even though a whole generation of adults is scarred by Tim Curry.
I mean, dude, like, you hate clowns, and you still saw both movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like...
Well, I did it for the channel.
The
channel. Okay?
Yes, but I mean, even after you saw both movies, you still said that they're not that bad.
No, they really aren't.
Like, Skarsgård did a really, really good job as Pennywise.
He did a really good job.
Like,
yeah.
he did... It was incredible. Like, I think that was the best character in that entire movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hands down. At least for the second movie, hands down. Best character in there.
Best.
Yeah, it's definitely the most developed character.
Oh, definitely.
In the second movie.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We'll get back to that later, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you rate this, man?
I would rate this, so... there are a couple different ways. If you're a big fan of the first movie, you're going to want to see the second movie. Go see it in theaters.
Exactly. Even if you haven't seen the first movie, like, you should still go see it. It's still a decent movie.
Yeah.
Like, it explains what's going on in the first 10 minutes of the movie anyway, so...
But, that being said, if, you weren't a huge fan of the first movie, or if the runtime, because it's a 3-hour-long movie, if the runtime kind of intimidates you, I would definitely just wait until you can stream it, or movie channels, Redbox, whatever, rent it. Because, yeah, you're probably going to have those moments where you really got to go pee. Like, a lot of people had those moments in the theater. I was thankfully able to hold it.
We also saw the movie at like 10:30
yeah,
at night.
It started at
10:30 at night. And like a bunch of people in the theater next to us
fell asleep. 3 people fell asleep in that movie. Like, you could hear snoring from at least
Which I don't understand how you could fall asleep in this movie. Movie was so loud.
I know, seriously. It was,
I don't understand.
It was pretty gnarly. Like, yeah, it was weird. Like, I didn't... but then again, you know, not everybody's us. You know, they don't stay up until 3, 4 in the morning every single night.
Yeah.
Because we're crazy people.
Yeah. So you'd say just wait to rent it or watch it on TV?
Fans of it, go ahead, go see it in theaters. Just wait for it. It's still a movie that I think is worth, you know, at least a single watch through. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good enough for a watch through. However you want to do it. I had one person that was just like, I'm pretty skeptical, the reviews aren't very good, I didn't really like the first one. I'm so like, no bother.
Yeah,
just wait for it to come out. Yeah, when you can see it for free, or when you can pause it and enjoy it at your leisure.
Exactly.
You know,
like I definitely agree. Like if you didn't like the first one, just definitely wait. Just wait until it's on the movie channels, or you can rent it or something.
Yeah, Netflix picks it up, or one of those streaming services picks it up.
But if you did like the movie, if you did like the first one, then I'd recommend going to see this. It's even if it's on a discount day, that's definitely a good day.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, man.
Hey, let's talk about beer.
Beer sounds good.
Beer sounds good. We got, like I said, double feature on the beers today. Both of these are from Clown Shoes, which is a brewery coming out of Boston, Massachusetts. So, our first East Coast beer that we've reviewed.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah, so we both got double IPAs, and I'll give you a little rundown on the Galactica first. Like I said, double IPA, 8% alcohol. I'd imagine it doesn't really list a lot of information on the can, but I'd probably put it anywhere in the 55 to 65 range for the IBUs. And man, this thing's actually a lot more almost fruit forward. Fruit and malt is what I'm getting a lot of off of this beer, both on the nose and on the taste. Yeah, fruit and malt, something really kind of like a summer fruit, like a really ripe cantaloupe or something like that. Mm-hmm. I could see that kind of being a thing. Honeydew seems a little light. This seems like a kind of strong flavor, but it's not overly fruity because it's got some hops to it. So it's got some bite to it. It definitely doesn't hold back on the bitterness, and balances out that heavy fruit flavor pretty nicely. All in all, pretty solid beer. I actually really like it. What do you think about yours?
Mine's definitely more malt forward, definitely from the aroma as well as the taste. There's not as fruit forward as his is, I guess. I haven't tried it, so. But
which we will do in just a moment.
Yeah, but it's definitely more malty. It's really smooth. It's very nice. It's not as fruit heavy. It's 9%, which I was like, all right, cool.
All right, you got a percentage point on me.
Yeah, I got 1 percentage point on it. But it's still a really good double IPA. I tend to like the more maltier double IPAs anyway, because they're a little smoother. They're not as hop aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you drink single IPAs for. That's what you drink regular IPAs, West Coast style IPAs.
Exactly. Yes.
That's kind of what this brings to mind. Is it's definitely not a West Coast style double IPA. West Coast, when you get double IPAs, I just had one that one, I mean, it's stone, so they go for hops.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that tasted like an IPA just jacked up to 11. And it was delicious beer. If you can find it, definitely get it. But, yeah, this reminds me more of like a English-style IPA.
Yeah.
That's just been, like, cranked up to 11. You know, it's definitely got that more maltiness, that more, like, a different style of hops, you know?
Yeah.
A different way to use them. And, yeah, it doesn't come off like a hop bomb, like a lot of West Coast style beers do. But, let me see what I think of this, this here Space Cake. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you mean by forward.
Yeah, I can definitely see
a little bit. It's a little bit more dry than this one.
Oh yeah.
Still really nice.
Yeah.
I actually really like it.
I like it.
Actually, I think out of the two, I might prefer
go with this one.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks like we bought the wrong beer for ourselves.
We should have gone with the other way around.
Yeah, I guess I actually really like this. I kind of like the more dry notes and like less fruit forward. I don't know. We've been so inundated with hazy IPAs lately.
Yeah.
It's just like it's hard to get away from them. And I'm like, okay, juice, haze.
Yes.
give me a nice crisp dry pale right now.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful, especially tail end of summer.
Oh yeah.
Still getting some hot days. I'm totally down for something dry and more crisp and refreshing.
Yep.
And this more leans towards that. It's definitely got the maltiness. It's definitely heavier than, you know, like a pale.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I love this beer. This beer.
Yeah. Well, you know, after we finish these, maybe we'll have to trade off our spares.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to.
Yeah. But
these are both. No, but don't get us wrong. They're both really good.
They are both actually really good.
Like I would drink either one of them easily, but yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'm totally gonna finish it. You don't get this.
Oh yeah, no, my mug's mine.
And the rest of this can is mine too. I'm gonna drink that too. That's gonna go in here.
Yeah. But yeah, like they're both very, very good beers.
They're both really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went for two different beers because I always like trying more beers opposed to less. So yeah, that was awesome. I think for the Galactica, I'd give it a solid. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. You know, 4. I don't know. I'll come up with something in a second.
I'll give it 4 out of 5 hot redheads.
Hot redheads. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I give it 4 out of 5 animated spider cookies. Space Cake. I'm gonna lean more towards the 4.5 there.
I'm gonna stick with 4. They're both very good beers. I'm gonna stick with a 4.
I like this one just a little bit more. I have to give the rating appropriately. So yeah, I don't think I've ever rated any beer less than 4, have I?
No. Well, I mean, we know what we're looking for when we go for beer.
Yeah, but also like we are trying to like fit a theme more often than not when we can. So that may lead us down the road of picking out some beers that we might not like that much and drinking this much of said beer.
Yeah.
But for the Space Cake, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Where the hell did that firefly come from?
Fucking easy. I'll give it 4 to 5.
Sorry, 4.5.
4 out of 5 dead children bodies in the sewer.
Alright. So with that, we will be going on to our spoiler review. If you have not seen the movie and you do not want to know anything about it, especially like the jump scares and the stuff that's actually probably going to get to you for those kind of movies, yeah, pause it, come back later after you've seen it, or if you think you're going to forget by the time you see it because you're going to wait for it to come out on DVD, hopefully you do. We'll see. It's up to you. You're grown adults.
Spoiler warning.
Almost finished it.
Yep.
So, It Chapter 2. Horror movie. We got a lot of jump scares, and some more effective than others, some way creepier than others, others kind of just fall flatter, you know.
Yep.
Turned out really weird.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about our favorites, and at least for me, I definitely have a weird mention, and then, you know, probably some other just like, did they mean to do that?
Right.
Number one, probably favorite creepiest moment is towards the beginning of the movie. We know that it's back, and there's a little girl with a birthmark on her face, and she sees a firefly, goes chasing after it, leads underneath the bleachers at a kid's baseball game, and you see it, and he starts talking to her, and she's about to leave, and he's like, oh, nobody wants to be friends with poor old Pennywise, and then he says he can, blow away the mark on her face that people make fun of her for, and he's like, alright, I'm going to count to 3, and she has to get really close to him, and he goes 1, 2, and then he just stops. He does that cross-eyed thing that he does, and just starts drooling, and he's just got like this dead expression on his face, and she's like, you're supposed to say, boom, and just eats her face.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you holy oh, man, I knew it was coming, but man, it was just like so well executed.
Oh,
and these are the moments where Bill Skarsgård does absolute just awesome work as the character, because it was, that was like one of the few moments in the movie that really like actually kind of got me. You know?
Right. Yeah.
What was probably your favorite one?
My favorite one? Let's see. Well, the favorite scare that I had was when Ben was going through the high school. And they do a flashback to him in summer school or something.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Beverly, and then he looks away and then looks back, and her hair is on fire on a play on his poem that he gave to her. And he's running down the hallway and jumps in his locker, and he looks out, and there's nothing there. And then he finds the piece of yearbook page that she signed, and then he leans back against the wall of the locker, and there's Pennywise right next to him
with a creepy look on his face.
And it's just like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was definitely an oh shit moment.
It's like, oh shit. I mean, I was expecting it because, it's a horror movie, but it was still an oh shit movie. And I was like, oh shit.
Okay, so I don't remember.
And then he makes a reference to Tim Curry's line in the second part for the
original part 2.
Yeah. Kiss me, fat boy. Which is a great line.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't as good as Tim Curry's, but it was still awesome.
Tim Curry's got that just, awesome creepiness about him. It's one of those things where can't beat the original.
It's the graveliness in his voice.
Yeah. Dude, that scene, so it shows Ben in the locker, and right above his shoulder is a poster. And there's a guy in the poster smiling, looking straight at the camera. And I could have sworn I thought they were going to pull one of the weirdest, campiest moves.
Like the new kids, it's the new kids on the block poster.
Yeah, make the guy actually start talking and, scare him that way, like come out of the page or something like that.
I was thinking that too.
I thought that's what was going to happen. And I'm just all like, oh please, I hope that doesn't happen because that is goofier than shit. Yeah, but yeah. So those, I was thinking that was probably like my second favorite, maybe third. The other more notable scene is not necessarily because it's as creepy, but it just really kind of sets the tone of the movie, is the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is a scene taken directly out of the book.
Yeah.
Where a homosexual couple is at the fair, and then they get attacked by a group of people that, don't like them because of that. And after they get the crap kicked out of them, one of them gets thrown over the bridge and into the water. And as he's, starting to drown, he's, struggling to, swim back to shore. And each time he comes up from the water, you see those orange eyes, orange glowing eyes, yep. And you see Pennywise just, holding out his hand. And, he's drowning. He just got his ass kicked. And so he sees this as, a savior. And Pennywise pulls him out of the water just as his boyfriend comes down and looks over across the river. And Pennywise just kind of waves and then bites the guy's heart out.
Yep. And
that was just it was a chilling moment. It wasn't really scary. Yeah. It wasn't super creepy, but it was just a chilling moment. Mm. And it just kind of that was more the good Pennywise character development that I felt. And then I have to say, probably one of the moments that totally was did they mean for this to happen, or did they shoot the scene and realize that it was not that good and added this extra bit to the scene? But it's the scene where Eddie is in the same in the basement of the pharmacy, and he sees the leper from the first movie, and it's coming at him, and he's at first super freaked out, and he's all scared and stuff, but then he starts to kind of fight back, and he grabs it by the throat, and he's choking it, and he's all yeah, I'm actually doing this, and then the leper just vomits black sludge all over him, and a song comes on, and I'm just all
it's the what is it? Don't Call Me Angel?
Yeah.
By Cher?
Yeah. And I'm just it's just
it's like Angel of the Morning or something by Cher, and it's just what?
I'm is this?
Are we watching Deadpool?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was did they film this scene and be all yeah, this whole vomiting thing is kind of lame. Let's try and make it, I don't know, lighthearted, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking for that scene. It totally threw it off. It totally took you out of it.
It was definitely weird.
I'm all right, now I'm expecting a guy in a red suit to come in and shoot the leper or something. This is just, what is going on here?
It totally took you out of the entire part of the movie.
Yeah.
Because I was goddamn Deadpool. During the movie, while we were watching it, I was goddamn
seriously.
Deadpool.
And yeah, and then one other moment that was kind of was the Paul Bunyan scene with Richie, where he runs out of the arcade. And he's outside. He's out in the open. Normally this stuff doesn't happen out in the open, so it's you kind of feel like he's going to be saved. And then you see Pennywise sitting on the shoulder of the big Paul Bunyan statue. And then in the background, you see all the people just, swaying and dancing. Yeah. And I'm just
oh, God.
What? Really? And then the Paul Bunyan statue, when it comes to life, I'm just
yeah, it was a...
I know your secret.
Yeah, that was.
See that part was.
I thought that was nice character development for the character. That
I thought was nice. Yeah, but you don't really understand what that means until
later in
the movie. Yeah. I feel like they could have done a little bit more foreshadowing with that flashback scene, maybe.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, you kind of you kind of.
You kind of do, but it's not really.
You had your suspicions as to like what was gonna happen, like.
Yeah, but it's not made like that much more clear until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But when it is made clear that Richie was gay and had feelings for Eddie,
he loved his friend.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those moments where it's just like, oh, it kind of adds like a level of somberness and like extra sadness to the death and gives Richie's character a little bit more development.
Yeah. That was the whole thing with this whole movie. It's like it was severely lacking in the Losers Club character development.
Yeah.
From the part where they were kids in the first one. The first one, they had great character development.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second one, it was really lacking in that whole character development thing with the adults. I mean, yeah, they're adults, but I mean, you still need to know like how they grew as people and like
the time
not just what they do as a career.
Yeah, which is pretty much all you get from the beginning of the movie. It's just like, oh, Bill's a writer, Richie's a comedian. Like Mike stayed in Derry and did some cool Indian drugs.
Ben's an architect. Eddie is a risk analyst.
Yeah, like in insurance.
Pretty much, yeah.
Insurance company stuff.
Are we missing anything? Beverly is a clothing designer of a big clothing company.
Yeah. Although that's not really that well explained.
It's said once.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, all of their careers is basically said once.
Except for Bill's. Bill's is mentioned multiple times because he's a writer, and Stephen King has to have a writer in every single book that he ever writes ever.
Plus, Stephen King's cameo in this.
It was actually pretty funny.
So funny.
It was actually pretty funny.
It was great.
He's even mocking himself because he modeled the character, the adult version of the character, after himself.
Yep.
And where he's a successful writer, but like the endings to a lot of his books suck, and then just pokes fun at Bill in the thrift shop, like. Yeah, no, I don't need it signed.
Don't really like the ending.
Didn't really like the ending.
I get that a lot.
But, that was a good cameo.
Mm-hmm. The character that got the best character development through the entire movie basically was it.
Yeah, it was Pennywise.
Pennywise is the one character that actually got character development. You
actually get to learn, like, where did he come from? Why is he in Derry specifically? Why does he do what he does? That's not really that well explained. But essentially they tell you the whole, shape-shifting space entity.
Yep. He's an interdimensional being that fights a gigantic interdimensional turtle.
Yeah.
They don't
one
explain the turtle.
Life, one represents death.
Yep. They don't explain the turtle part, but it's referenced in both movies.
It's referenced,
but
with actual turtles.
Yep. In both movies.
In both movies.
He's an intergalactic entity that crashed onto Earth. Back in like the 1700s or 1600s. It was a long time ago.
A long time. Actually, I think it was even longer ago.
I think it was like
millions of years.
Yeah,
but
and he just takes the form of whatever is feared most at that time. And back then, it was a Thunderbird. I think it was a reference to like a Thunderbird and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he takes other forms as well. But, modern days, we get the creepy clown.
Creepy clown, yes.
And, and we get to see him do all this fun, shape-shifting, mind manipulation stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Throughout the movie.
I liked his character development. They did much more in this one than they did in the old Tim Curry one, which didn't explain anything. They it's a clown in Derry and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did kind of do a similar thing, like, where, because it's, in both movies, at the ending of the movie, it kind of takes on, like, a spider form.
Yes.
Which, in the book, is more explained to be, like, the closest thing that humans can comprehend to its true form.
Yeah, it's a somewhat spider-ish form.
Yeah. Which, I don't know about you, that would freak me the hell out already. Like, big spider? Like,
yeah, a spider, a gigantic spider. Yeah, that would probably freak everybody out.
That can shapeshift. Like, that's terrifying right there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need those stinking clowns. I guess that helps get around town a lot easier, but...
It's a little more compact.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I mean, like... Yeah, it got the most character development, which was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Which is, again, like, one of the reasons, like, a lot of the reviews didn't like that, is because there was basically a whole hour of the movie dedicated to each character finding their piece for their totems for the ritual. And it was... I can see why they were angry with it and why they didn't like that part, because it's a big chunk of the movie.
It's a big chunk of the movie, and not only that, but it's like, this is time that you could have spent developing the adult characters a lot better, and instead they spent it more on trying to do more jump scares, trying to do more, just kind of cheap scares, rather than, like, some of the more psychological scares that you get in the first movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like stuff like that would have been better utilized on the adults. For the second movie.
Adults
less time spent on flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, adults, it would have been like much better to go after them psychologically, less than something that's formed in front of you.
Yeah.
When you're a child, you see things and you fear it. With adults, it's a lot more psychological. Like, you think of something and you'd be terrified of it.
Yeah. It's kind of like the whole thing, like, oh, it takes the form of, what you fear most. Well, crap, it's going to have a hard time getting millennials because all we feel is crippling anxiety, depression, and, not paying off our student loan debts.
It's going to be in the form. It's going to be the form of an old person.
Yeah, it's going to be the form of disappointment.
Disappointment.
And yeah, that's scary, but it's not really a tangible thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's going to be in the form of everybody's parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Each person's going to...
so disappointed.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And somehow that hurts just so much worse.
So much worse. Yeah. It won't even have to kill you. You can just go off and just kill yourself. And just eat the corpse.
There you go. Dude, yeah, I think it would, like, if it was set in this time, it would definitely have a lot easier time killing off people.
I don't know. It would be, like, easier but harder, too. It's like, all of our fears are so intangible these days.
It's very, very true. Yeah.
I think, like, half of us would just be killed by spiders. A few of us, the clown thing would still work.
Yeah, and a lot of adults now. Yeah.
There might be that group of people where like that whole Paranormal Activity style thing, where it's just like that unseen demon force and stuff like that. That might be, the scariest thing to some people.
They should have stopped after the first one.
Seriously,
they didn't need to make 7.
Seriously, I mean. I think it was the third one I watched was okay.
Which one? What happened?
That was the one where... It might have been the second one. I don't know. I don't follow those movies at all.
I can tell you.
But it's in the house with the kid and the dog, and it's like the demon seems to come out of the basement all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's the main girl from the first one's sister.
Yeah, that's the one.
Younger sister.
Yeah. I didn't like it because they hurt the dog.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was dumb.
Sorry,
they could have done the entire movie without doing that.
Yeah, never kill the dog. Disappointing.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Anyways,
Anyways, what do you think of the death of Pennywise?
The death of Pennywise? You know, it was pretty similar to how they did it in the old movie. I don't really remember how they did it in the book. Personally,
kind of along the lines of this movie.
Okay,
it was kind of along the lines. It was pretty close.
I thought the way they did it in this movie wasn't bad.
No,
I actually, like, it made sense. It was, real, like, it was something that really kind of fell in line with the whole character, and, like, it gains power from fear, so if you don't fear it, and, like, you force it to take on, your sense of bravery and your sense of, like, I'm not afraid of you, then it gets smaller and smaller until it just kind of, like, sinks into the rocks. And then they literally rip its heart out and crush it.
Yep.
Which, that was pretty brutal. That was
cool. I think that was pretty cool.
Which they did the same thing in the original movie, too.
Yes. Yes.
So, that was pretty cool. Like, rip out your still beating heart and crush it between all of our hands.
Yep.
Like metal.
Yep. that was pretty cool. It was... I definitely enjoyed this death a lot more than the old movie.
Yeah. Well, especially because in the old movie, he stayed in that spider form when they killed him.
Yep.
In this movie, he's still got the Pennywise face, So as he's shrinking down, and you see like another great Skarsgård moment where you can really see the terror in its own eyes.
Yep.
And as it's sinking down, it's like tries to scare him, and they jump back briefly, but then they're back to it. No, you're just a clown. You're small. You're nothing. You're garbage. It's like, it's a good moment in the movie, and like just his facial expressions as he's being belittled and torn down. It really tells you, like, it lives through fear, but can also fear itself.
Yep.
And so that was a good moment in the movie.
I thought that was really great too. Yeah, it was definitely rewarding. Definitely a rewarding death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, the way they ended the movie, I thought was pretty good. Kind of wraps up, all the adults after they leave Derry again. And they all leave for good. Mike doesn't stay this time. He's actually
Mike's actually
going
leaving this time.
The town.
They give Stan a little bit more character development too.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Because in the beginning, it's you think he killed himself because he was too afraid to face Pennywise, and that he was being a coward. When in reality, he knew that if it came down to it, he was going to be the weakest person in the group, and in order to actually defeat Pennywise, he needed to remove himself from the equation entirely. And so he really did it out of a sense of self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
Which, was sad, because you feel like that should never really be a thing. Like, it should never be the option that you have to resort to.
Yeah, exactly.
But it kind of made sense in the whole character, and kind of gave a fitting end to the character instead of just, he killed himself like a coward in the bathroom.
Yeah, which, I mean, the old movie did. They basically made him look like he was just a coward, didn't want to come back. And this one gave him a more heroic role in it.
Yeah.
Which I really liked. I really liked that whole.
Yeah.
I really liked that whole thing because it gave them something to basically, it strengthened them and bring them together a little bit more. So yeah. So yeah. That about wraps it up, man.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, Here's to you.
Here's to me.
Friends for life we shall always be.
And if by chance we disagree,
Well then, screw you. Here's to me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Next week, or later this week, Big Lebowski / announcement.
No announcement.
Fall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big announcements coming up.
Good size announcement. Yeah.